Over the years, Ninjago has had a very disjointed and poorly handled airing schedule for rolling out new episodes. Up until 2022, Ninjago's airing schedule was, there is no airing schedule. How things would happen is that LEGO would release a trailer for whatever new season would be coming out at the time, and then 1 to 2 months later, it would either leak online outright or be aired by some random TV network that barely anyone has access to, which would then be screen recorded by some kind soul and dumped onto YouTube in low quality. Genuinely shoutouts to anyone who has ever ripped an Ninjago episode this way. You guys are real ones. The entirety of society rests on your back. This all changed with the release of Classic Ninjago's 15th and final season, Crystallized, in 2022. Crystallized signaled the beginning of LEGO working closely with Netflix to drop new Ninjago episodes with a standardized airing schedule, rather than the absolute unbridled chaos of seasons past. This is a truly great move on LEGO's part, and one that has reaped a ton of benefits for Ninjago fans. Actually being able to watch these episodes in HD on release is a godsend. Never forget when it took us over a year to get the season 11 episodes in HD. And having USA Netflix generally being the home of Ninjago now is great for exposing the franchise to new viewers. That being said, this new standardized airing schedule kind of really sucks in a lot of important ways that I want to take a video to explain, in the hopes that these concerns could maybe be acted on by the powers that be, or at the very least I like a good complaint sesh here and there.
All you ever do is complain!
Even during the disorganization of the pre-2022 Ninjago airing schedule, there was at least some semblance of a normal television airing schedule here. You know, episodes air on usually an episode by episode basis, and then you wait for the next episode to come out in a timely manner. Now, mind you, as said before, this was never done in an organized way, but it was there. Ninjago's new airing schedule, however, is that they will release 1 season a year, which, rather than being released on an episode by episode basis over a period of time, is released in 2 big batches of episodes all at once. And between those 2 batches of episodes is a 6-month long wait. Now, I don't mind waiting. I consider myself a pretty patient person. I am absolutely fine with waiting for an extended period of time between Ninjago installments. But that's the thing, between installments. What I don't like is when the currently ongoing season randomly grinds to a screeching halt and then completely stops for half a year. Everyone, the Part 1/2 release model. What seems to be the main unfortunate consequence of LEGO's partnership with Netflix is that episodes are no longer being aired on an episode by episode basis. They are now being aired in batches of 10 episodes or so because you need to binge watch it. Don't you love binge watching things, guys? Don't you love streaming services? Binge watching is an entirely valid way of watching TV. Don't get me wrong here. But the entire show's airing schedule should not be organized with binging as a central priority. Only having 2 days across an entire year when Ninjago is actually putting out new episodes is such a major buzzkill, and is also just less fun to follow along with as a viewer, man. I like when shows operate on weekly episode by episode structures. It allows me to have time to breathe and take in every single episode on an individual basis, rather than every episode in a batch completely blending together on the first go because I had to binge watch it all to avoid getting spoiled. Another downside of this Part 1, Part 2 batch schedule is that outside of the halfway through the season hiatus, cliffhangers between individual episodes don't have nearly as much weight when all of the episodes are getting dumped onto a streaming service at once. End of episode cliffhangers go way harder when there's a week or so long gap between episodes that gives you time to actually build up anticipation and speculate on what's going to happen next. And I think losing this has been a huge blow to fandom discussion of Ninjago online, and also just makes it harder to actually appreciate these individual episodes upon the first watch of the season. That all being said, this 2 batches schedule has definitely gotten better since its debut with Crystallized. Splitting Crystallized into 2 parts didn't particularly work very well because 1, Ninjago fans weren't actually made aware of the idea of 2 parts until way beyond the last minute, leaving us sitting around for months thinking, what happened? Why did the season just stop? Secondly, and probably more importantly than the first point, Crystallized very obviously was not produced with the idea of getting split into 2 separate parts in mind. They just kind of arbitrarily stopped on a random episode that wasn't even halfway through the season yet, and just told fans to come back in half a year. This batch release schedule in basically every way was handled horribly. Dragon's Rising comparatively is getting produced with being split into 2 separate parts in mind. Within its 2 20-episode long seasons so far, episode 10 is always the mid-season finale episode, where the stakes get raised a bit, there's usually a big battle, and a couple of plot threads get wrapped up, or get left in satisfying enough positions for a hiatus, before delivering a big cliffhanger at the end of the episode. This airing structure is definitely executed a lot better nowadays now that Ninjago seasons are actually being produced with it in mind. but I still don't really like it that much, man. Ninjago seasons are getting produced with this schedule in mind now, sure, which does make it better. But ultimately, this just feels like it's making the best out of a bad situation. I would still prefer episode by episode weekly or even bi-weekly releases. Another reason why I don't like the 2-part batch release structure they've got going that much is that it seems to be unintentionally placing bloated and unrealistic expectations onto part 2 of a season onto Ninjago fans. With the long gaps between batch releases, separate posters and marketing, and even set waves dedicated to either half in the case of season 2, I've seen people going into, for example, the second part of season 2 with, knowing it or not, the expectations of an entirely new season. A pretty good example of what I mean by this is one criticism I've seen popping up about season 2 part 2 being that it didn't really have any new soundtracks to offer. Sure, we did have some new stuff, like the theme of the Tournament of the Sources, but generally speaking, a lot of Season 2 Part 2's soundtrack was stuff from the first part of Season 2, and just Dragon's Rising motifs in general. And I really don't think this is a fair criticism of Season 2 at all, because you need to look at the whole thing. All 20 episodes, which offer up a ton of new soundtracks to Ninjago. Singling out the second half of a season and critiquing specifically that for not offering up a bunch of new stuff music-wise is a talking point that I've never seen for any of Ninjago's 13 years of seasons leading up to this. And I blame this honestly kind of erroneous and unfair talking point entirely on the fact that seasons are now being split up into big halves, placing the expectations of a full-blown new season on what is, at the end of the day, supposed to be part 2 of a bigger season. Like, I'm gonna be for real, if season 2 aired exactly as it is now, but just from episodes 1 to 20 in a weekly structure, no part 1, part 2 gap involved, no one would have this criticism of the last 10 episodes. No one. And I think it's a huge shame that this weird and awkward airing schedule is now placing unrealistic expectations onto these episodes. So I guess what I'm trying to say with all of this is, can we have weekly episodes, please, Lego? I'm sure you and Netflix can strike up some kind of deal where you air episodes weekly over the course of about 6 months or so. Which 6 months is how long these seasons take to fully air anyways, so nothing is really being lost time-wise here. And if it is just a Netflix thing, if LEGO really has no control over this and this batch release stuff is just a Netflix thing, then I'll just complain about Netflix. Netflix, can you please just air episodes weekly, man? Your contemporaries, Amazon Prime Video, Disney Plus, they are doing weekly episodes perfectly fine. And these weekly episode schedules are providing net benefits to their shows. Can you do what everyone else is doing, please?
Complain.
And with that, my yap sesh about Ninjago's current airing schedule is complete. It's definitely better than it was in 2022, but I still think it is not particularly great, sadly. This whole rant, if you will, hasn't even factored in the fact that most of Ninjago's airing schedules don't even go as planned. So if you want to see a whole video discussing that aspect of this problem, there's a card that should be showing up on screen now that you can click to watch that video. Thank you to the channel members for supporting the channel financially, and thank you for watching this video all the way through, and hopefully I will see you in another one. Goodbye for now.